Guys, Coach Victor Robledo here. Today we're going to talk about overtraining, adrenal fatigue, midlife crisis. Now, I've gone through my own significant adrenal fatigue slash midlife crisis slash overtraining. Which one is it? I feel like a lot of people struggle with figuring out, putting a label on whatever it is they're going through. And if you're new to this channel, Coach Victor Robledo, I've been working with people for almost 30 years. About 10 years ago, I went through a significant amount of adrenal fatigue. And so I like to inform a lot of my subscribers about those steps and what simple ways you can, simple steps you can take to solve those problems. So before we go into that, I'm gonna give you 3 simple things. Subscribe to the channel, leave some comments. I really enjoy interacting with some of the people that follow me here, and let's get to it. So number 1, the big thing that you can do is if you're going through this, have an understanding that you're not alone. People go through it all the time. They just don't talk about it. I can't tell you how many doctors I went through when I was going through this, and they just kept saying, hey, there's nothing wrong with you. And I knew there was something wrong from a physiological standpoint. So adrenal fatigue, overtraining, if you look at some of these subjects and symptoms, you'll see some of the same stuff. Now, personally, I was working as a strength coach. I had my own gym slash gymnastics facility. I was working long hours, training brutally hard in my mid-30s. And what I perceived was I was very relaxed and calm, but I had anxiety, depression, GI problems, insomnia, wired and tired feelings, injuries that wouldn't heal. And all of this was just, I couldn't get a handle on how to solve it. And here I was solving my own injuries from a prehab or rehab standpoint, but I couldn't get them to all go away. And so one of the first things you can do is start breathing. Now, this sounds overly simple, but I promise you it'll have a massive impact. Now, when you are going through overtraining, your nervous system is jacked up. If you are stressed along with training, your nervous system is going to be heightened. You're going to have the shoulders that are constantly in this position if we're in a stressed state. And so just taking an opportunity to work on breath work, whether it's calming, focused breath work like a box breath, or sitting quietly and just taking in like, how am I actually feeling, can have a huge positive impact on shifting and recovering from overtraining, adrenal fatigue, or even giving you some perspective if you are in a point in your life where you're like, something's got to give. All the same sort of theory. So breath work is number 1. Number 2, and the big one, is anti-inflammatory diet. Now look, this has all been out before. You can Google the matter and get to all of it. And I will say this, you got to go all in on this. You can't dabble. And this is where sometimes a coach can help you. So if you feel like you can't hold yourself accountable, or you feel like you're following everything and it's not working, sometimes a coach can help you. Look up anti-inflammatory diet, cut it all out for 2 to 3 weeks and see if you see a physical change or feel a physical change in your anxiety, depression, weight. I remember I couldn't drop weight and that was super frustrating. My metabolism was really messed up. So the anti-inflammatory diet. The third thing, a lot of people, especially like a meathead like me, I still wanted to train, but I was finding myself addicted to that temporary feeling of like, all these positive catecholamines, like, yeah, epinephrine. I would get a surge like of adrenaline, like, yeah, I feel good. And then I would just be exhausted. And so this is big. And I don't coin this term. Paul Chek is the first one I've heard say this, and that's train, don't drain. Do just enough to physically shift into that level where you're creating a little bit of muscle. So slow down your strength training, stay a little bit away from high intensity interval or the high intensity lifting that you're doing, and just work a little bit on taking your time. I always tell people, strong people don't rush. Take your time through your strength training, elicit a change, get your lifts done, train a little bit less, train, don't drain. So those are the 3 steps. If you feel like you're going in overtraining, you feel like you're going through some adrenal fatigue, or more popular, adrenal fatigue is a term we use, but really it's adrenal insufficiency. You're feeling these changes in your hormones, and then anti-inflammatory diet. That's it for today, guys. Comments down below, subscribe. Thanks.